shit, I forgot all my equipment. I'm doing this a little differently than what I normally do. I'm just turned up to the cinemas. I'm going to go see Dark Phoenix in literally about 20 odd minutes. But I thought I'd just record this first because this has been nagging at me since I saw the trailers for Dark Phoenix, and I want to get it on record before I watch the movie. So this is proof. I mean, I can't show you the time because I'm literally on the phone. So it's 8:45. I've not looked at any of the reviews, although the posts I've been seeing looks like this is going to be pretty horrendous. I want this on record. I'm willing to bet that Mystique is going to get killed off in the, let's say, second act, whatever the structure is going to be. It's going to be the moment where Dark Phoenix is going to emerge, or at least it's going to be the moment where, like, you know, Jean Grey loses control. She's going to probably kill Mystique, possibly accidentally, and that's going to be the turning point. It's going to be the whole lowest point for the heroes. It's going to be all that shtick, and that's just because of from the trailer. The act one is going to be the opener. You know, it's going to be the whole rescue and death of Jean and her resurrection. Then the next part's going to be dealing with her coming back and lead up to like the emerging powers of Phoenix and the manipulation. And then it's going to be like death of Mystique, the lowest point of the heroes. They come back to defeat Jean, and it's following the comics, which has been so many years since I've read them, like literally decades at this point. It's going to be Cyclops that, you know, talks her down or murderfies her or whatever, which is going to probably work a lot better than Wolverine. Yeah, let's get to this. So I just got out of X-Men Dark Phoenix, and I was tempted to do this live, but I genuinely don't have much to say, that because I thought I'd have more. The stuff I've been hearing makes this movie feel like it was going to be a bit more disappointing, and it's fine. The movie's kind of just fine. It's not really, I want to say it's good, probably average. It's not the worst X-Men movie I've ever seen. That's very much a fair tie between X-Men Origins Wolverine and X-Men 3: Last Stand in that context, and with X-Men Apocalypse hovering over that. So it's better than those three. And I think my attitude would be a lot different if it weren't for the fact that the end third of this movie is better than the previous two. I think I talked about this in Shazam when I said coming out with a stronger third act or stronger finale can give you a better buzz coming out of a film than a movie that was strong up until the end and then kind of shat the bed. Just because, you know, it's a fresher thing. But of course, it's still, you got to think about the 2 hours of fucking build up to that like last half an hour kind of bullshit. What I'll do this time, contrary to what I've done the previous couple of times, is I'm going to talk about the good things first, and then I'm going to go into my things I didn't like about this film. Because this movie has problems. This movie has a fair few problems. This movie is probably worth, like, truly dissecting. There's things that could have really made this movie pop, and there's things that probably could have made this movie tank a lot more than it's probably already doing. But let's go into the good. Let's talk about the things I liked. This has probably got some of the best mutant fight scenes in the movies, and especially mutant fight scenes in the movies that don't have anything to do with Wolverine. Spoilers, Logan is not in this at all. There's not even a surprise cameo, which I thought there might have been at some point, like something that like maybe that got filmed beforehand, because this has had a long time in post and stuff like that. So the production history on this is pretty long, but I think they handle the fight scenes really well. They use the characters very efficiently. When you're dealing with an ensemble, especially with an ensemble that's got so many weird and interesting powers, you've got to figure out how to use them in the right way. I think this particular movie did that very well within the fight scenes towards the end, because there's no real fight scenes at the beginning of this movie. There's action sequences No, I actually really enjoyed the fight scenes in this. The actors, for the most part, did a decent job. Fassbender is the MVP of this franchise yet again. One thing about the evolution of these films is they've really basically went, everyone likes this Fassbender guy and this Jennifer Lawrence guy. We really got to turn them into heroes, not the villains they were previously, which works in varying degrees for between those last few movies. But Fassbender, especially his chemistry between him and McAvoy, once again, yeah, it was brilliant. I mean, I think McAvoy probably acted his ass off more in this film than maybe Apocalypse, but there's a lot of things that set them back. I don't want to seem mean. Didn't particularly like Sophie Turner's performance in this. It was good. It's maybe just biased. I've not seen Game of Thrones. I've not seen that much stuff within it, but I hate to say it, but she doesn't feel like a movie actress. She feels like she's a TV actress. If you know some of these distinctions, I hate to use these analogies. I hate to use these things, but that's it. I mean, it felt too steeped in the melodrama, not really in the intense emotions, which this kind of felt like it kind of needed. And I don't think that's necessarily her fault. And I'll get to that in the nitpicks. Everyone else, it's kind of fine. I mean, yeah, for really what they were given, I think people did a fairly good job. What else is there good to say about this movie? That's pretty much it. The fight scenes at the end and the performances. The rest of this movie is, oh boy. So a little bit of background. The guy who wrote this, he's written some of the other movies. I believe he also wrote one of the drafts on X-Men 3 Last Stand. Surprisingly, it's the one with Phoenix in it. This was his first time directed. This wasn't directed by Bryan Singer, who had directed the previous two films, I think, after Age of Apocalypse. I'm kind of glad he wasn't involved in this. But so this was written and directed by, oh god, I just saw the name. It's and I can't look at my phone because I'm currently recording on it. Put this in post stuff on here, but he has experience writing Hollywood blockbusters and stuff like that. But so I will give him credit to say the writing was okay. The plot was, I don't think this is necessarily good. This is kind of in that, not great, not bad, just kind of middling, average thing where I think this movie really sits is just really kind of average. And the writing was okay for the most part. There's no real dialogue or anything like that kind of took me out, but the pacing felt a little bit off. I never really felt like I cared a shit about these characters. So everyone, except for the possibility of, like, say, Jean, Xavier, Magneto, mainly a lot of the people that were in the last X-Men movie, the new cast, didn't feel that. Oh, okay, they were probably more developed in X-Men Apocalypse, but they really weren't that developed in this. There's like huge segments of this movie where like characters like Storm are just not in it. When they turn up, it's like, oh, that's right, Storm's in this movie. It happens like with Storm and Nightcrawler. Quicksilver is literally taken out after that. Oh, yeah. I'll do that next. I'll do that before I get to the huge nitpicky stuff. Quicksilver, it gets taken out in this film. He has like barely two short little pieces. Even when he's not basically running around, he's hardly in it. It may be Evan Peters, just didn't want to do it. But then I can imagine most of these people just did not want to. Jennifer Lawrence was once again checked out. Phoning it in is probably in kind, but honestly, you can see she did not want to be there. She definitely wanted out of this film. The makeup was pathetic. Like, it was just like one little appliance on here. The hair was fucking terrible. It was like this synthetic wig, and it just looked bad. And especially with the lighting in this film, like there's like a marbling effect on her skin, but it just looked like splotchy freckles, and it just these dark little. No, it's just bad. It's just really bad. Jennifer Lawrence got after Apocalypse. I'm surprised she even signed up for this. She might have been contractually obligated. She was contractually obligated for Apocalypse, and that's why she had to do it. And that's one one of the reasons she fucking phoned it in. But this movie, it was clear they were like, you've got me for like 2-3 days at most. They maybe had her for like at most maybe a week of production, and yeah, called it. Jean Grey killed her. Spoilers, but fuck, really, that was easily one of the most fucking thing that was going to happen in this movie. And yeah, exactly in the point in the trailer where she's like, Mystique's trying to calm Jean down, Jean explodes, accidentally kills her. Saw that coming a fucking mile away. The other thing I didn't call was, well, that Scott did save her, or at least helped to redirect the Phoenix Force, but at the end of the day, I got to that point inside. I don't think they even tried to copy the comic books at that stage. Sorry, good actors. Jessica Chastain was a pretty reasonably good villain. I think she was trying to add something to this really flat character. Enough of that. Let's get on to the snark, because man, this movie was badly directed. It's one of those things where you can see a lot of money was spent on it. They had a lot of talented people on board to try and make this thing work, but some of the character direction was not good. The frame was constantly jumping the line. And this is like year one level student fucking film stuff that people should know the difference. For a quick primer on jumping the line, basically, if I'm talking to you like this, and in the same frame like this, the other person's talking like this, you generally have them framed on the other side, typically, so you're jumping back and forth. But people are framed like this, and then that frame is on the other side. In a lot of these shots, like, people are talking to two people, but on the screen, they're like talking off onto another. They're looking at the character, but the framing makes them look like they're looking somewhere else, and it's fucking terrible. And this doesn't happen once. This happens, like, I spotted it at least 4 or 5 times, maybe half a dozen times at least. There's probably more times, but I was kind of checked out on this movie for the most part. And this is like a major Hollywood studio production. This was like a veteran cinematographer. He was clearly being directed to do this, because no one should be shooting this way. The framing was just bad. There's like literally there's like 3 shots in this movie. There's the extreme close-up, the mid shot, and the far away shot. They use extreme close-up so many times in dialogue. You're literally spending most of the movie talking to people like this for literally most of the fucking film. Wow! That was... Even some of the cutaway shots are really bad. I can't believe this. This is student level incompetence. This is someone who's filmed a film without even knowing what film is. Like, it was never looked at the basic concepts of film. Oh my god, I can't believe it. Fuck. I'm honestly astounded that this happened. This happened this way. By God. And I'm gonna be brutal here. I think Fox just did not throw any money at this film. I mean, fuck, the makeup on Mystique is one thing, but man, the CGI in this movie is just really, really bad. There's just moments where like objects have like literally no weight, or they look like just 3D objects just pasted onto the freaking footage. This movie just... the effects budget was not good. Or at least, I think they spent it on some things better than the others, but for the most part, the CGI was just shonky as hell. The costuming was... Okay, they make a point of why they use the 2000 style... Well, they don't, not specifically 2000 style. It's the Brian Hitch style 2000 X-Men comics, which is annoying because one of the things that people were like excited about with Apocalypse was the 90s suits that the teaser things were, which of course was one of the disappointing things about Apocalypse, was we only got to see them in one shot right at the end. So coming into this movie, it's like, oh yeah, we're finally going to see these costumes, and That's a plot point right at the beginning of the movie, and I think it's maybe a fair call. Everything else just felt a little bit bland. It's not the worst movie. It honestly, given like the last few years of X-Men and Fox and all that, this movie tries to go out with a literal big bang, but it just felt like a whimper. And I mean, literally, this movie ends with a big bang. You could tell that they had no idea what they wanted to do with this franchise at this point. It was almost that thing of like, we know the Disney merger's possibly going to be a thing, and we just need to milk this franchise one more time. And it's fuck. I don't have anything to say that could make this movie bad, because honestly, I think at this stage, if this Fox Disney merger hadn't gone through, this would have been the nail in the fucking casket, regardless. You could see at this point Fox was just like, nah, just whatever, we'll just make another fucking one. I don't care. Nobody higher up cared. If they'd have cared, they might have put a little bit more budget towards this and try to make it a bit bigger, or maybe add some better effects. Like, literally, the X-Jet always like lands behind like a tree or like a house or something like that. It's like this big on screen. It just lands and cuts away, and like they didn't even attempt a landing shot. They didn't. You would have gotten a more realistic if you just use a fucking toy at this point. Why are you spending a special effects budget on this? It's just not. The effects in this movie were not that good. I mean, things like say Storm's effects, X-Men, Cyclops' blasts are okay. A lot of the floating metal effects look pretty bad. The aliens just look a bit generic, almost a little bit Chintari. Kind of wanted to like this movie. I was like deeply hoping that the reviews are saying it was horrible, and the problem is it's not horrible. It's just barely average. I almost wish it was worse. Then I'd have something more to say about it. Like, this is interestingly terrible. At least kind of Wolverine Origins, as bad as that was, you can at least have a laugh at just the stupid shit in that film. X3 was kind of like, it had some good ideas, but it really suffered from a director that really didn't handle the material, and the fact that people didn't want to fucking make it. I'm trying to avoid a lot of the spoilery stuff on this, because why not? You should at least go watch if you've seen the other ones. A lot of specific plot points are missing out. I mean, the one thing I did say is the one thing I predicted. That's easy to come across. What would I give this out of 10? At most, I'd give it, say, maybe 5.5. Pushing it, if that's pushing it, it's a 5. It's average. It's not terrible enough to be interesting, and it's not good enough to be recommended. There you go. One of the most middling movies I've seen this year. I really genuinely wish it was worse. That way I could have something more entertaining to say about it. So all the Patreon subscribers, scrolling up along here somewhere, please don't forget to share, subscribe, comment, that usual guff. Speaking of Patrons, I do have a Patreon. For as little as $1 a month, you get advanced viewing of the videos I put out, and for a little bit more, you can get some bonus content. I have been kind of really busy with life, so I haven't had a chance to do too much lately. I'm hoping to sell that. I'd love to get around to finally seeing John Wick sometime soon. I may be watching Men in Black this week as well, so tune in for all that. And so until next time, see ya.